Good morning, Wildcats. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2020, and I hope you enjoyed yesterday. It was a warm day. It felt like summer, which was nice. That's my favorite time of the year. And today is supposed to be another warm day, so hopefully you're able to stay hydrated, have some water. If you're able to, maybe go outside. I know Dominic, I heard you can jump into a pool, which is pretty cool. We don't have a pool here, but we go outside, play in the water, and try to make the best of it. So please, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and enjoying your time. So let's go ahead and get started with chapter 6, Giant Bananas and Two-Headed Astronauts. This was the first Halloween that me and Ryan and Michael were allowed to go trick-or-treating without our parents. Ooh. We went home to drop off our backpacks and get pillowcases to hold all the candy. Then we met up again at Michael's house. "Let's go," Ryan said. "If I don't eat a Twizzler in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna die." "Not so fast," Michael said, opening up a big map he had drawn. "I worked it out, so we'll have maximum candy accumulation." Wow, big words. Michael should be in the gifted and talented program. Me and Ryan looked at Michael's map. Michael doesn't just like to walk up and down the street collecting candy like a normal kid. He plans a careful route so he can go to all the houses that have good candy and not waste any time at the other houses where people turn off their lights and pretend they're not home. Michael is weird. "Well, we'll save Miss Patty's house for last," Michael said. "She says she has more candy than anybody in town. Let's go." I was thinking about what Mrs. Patty had said earlier. Do you guys remember what Mrs. Patty was talking about? What she told them? "Do you think there really is a Halloween monster?" I asked the guys as we headed up the street. "Of course not," Michael said. "Mrs. Patty was just yanking your chain." "We'd better be careful just in case," Ryan said. We set off on our candy quest. There were lots of kids in weird costumes walking up and down the streets. Giraffes, Darth Vaders, two-headed astronauts, princesses, cowboys, ghosts. 4 kids dressed up as a bunch of giant bananas. What a freak show. We saw teenagers dressed up like bums. Teenagers always dress up like bums on Halloween. That must be an easy costume to make because teenagers dress like bums even when it isn't Halloween. So that's them getting ready to go trick-or-treating. "Trick-or-treat!" we shouted when we got to the first house on Michael's map. A lady opened the door. "Oh, you boys are scary," she said, even though she didn't totally look scared at all. "What are you supposed to be?" "We're a zombie football player, a zombie hockey player, and a killer penguin, a killer zombie penguin," Michael added, "from outer space." "You can each have a piece of candy," the lady said, holding out the bucket for us. "Can we take 2?" I asked, grabbing a Milky Way. "Well, okay. Can we take 4?" I asked, grabbing a Butterfinger. Butterfinger. "No," the lady said, pulling back the bucket. That lady was mean. We went to the next house and got candy there. Then we went to the house around the corner and got candy there. Before we went to the next house, each of us took a piece of candy out of our pillowcase and ate it. There's no reason you have to wait until the end of your trick-or-treating to start eating your candy. You need to start eating your candy right away so you'll have enough energy to get more candy. I like that thinking. That's the first rule of being a kid. Got that, guys? Michael led us a few blocks away to the next house on his map. He rang the doorbell, and the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. A lady answered. Well, that wasn't the weird part because ladies answer the doors all the time. The weird part was who the lady was. Can you guys take a guess at who answered the door? It wasn't just any lady. She wasn't a regular a regular person. She was Mrs. Cooney, our school nurse. It was weird. I thought Mrs. Cooney lived in the nurse's office, but she lives in a regular house, just like a regular person. Trick or treat, we shouted. Ooh, I'm scared, Mrs. Cooney said, even though she didn't totally look scared at all. Mrs. Cooney brought out a bowl filled with carrots, apples, and nuts. Apples, carrots, and nuts? Who gives out apples, carrots, and nuts for Halloween? That's health food. You can each take one, Mrs. Cooney said. Do we have to? I asked. Don't you have any candy? Michael said. Candy isn't good for you, said Mrs. Cooney. It rots your teeth. She's no fun. Where's the candy? I'd rather have rotten teeth than no candy, I said. But we each took a bag of of nuts anyway, because that was the closest thing to candy, and we didn't want to hurt Mrs. Cooney's feelings. She doesn't know the first thing about Halloween. You're not supposed to give out healthy food. Mrs. Cooney is loony. Luckily, most people gave us candy, but at one house, a man gave each of us a quarter instead. He said he ran out of candy. Getting a quarter is almost as good as getting candy because you can use it to buy candy. We had been trick-or-treating for some time when we walked past a spooky graveyard. That reminded me of the Halloween monster again. Yikes. Nothing scares me. Looks scared to me. I would fight a bear. I would fight a lion. I would fight an elephant. Well, I don't think elephants fight, but I really didn't want to see the Halloween monster. It was starting to get a little dark and scary out. Hey, if you guys get chopped up by the Halloween monster, I asked Ryan and Michael, can I have your candy? There's no such thing as a Halloween monster, dumbhead, Michael insisted. But just in case, we made a deal. If one of us was chopped up by the Halloween monster and the other two survived, they would split the dead kid's candy. And if two of us were chopped up, the kid who lived would get all the candy. I wondered if Ryan and Michael were secretly hoping that I would get chopped up by the Halloween monster so they can split my candy. I figured they were probably thinking that because I was secretly hoping they would get chopped up by the Halloween monster so I could keep all their candy. It really didn't matter because each of us was filling our pillowcases with about 1,100,000 tons of candy. Mine was getting heavy. It would be hard to eat all that candy in one night, but my mom tells me that I can accomplish anything if I put my mind to it. I'd better eat some more of this candy, I said, reaching into my pillowcase. It's getting too heavy to carry. You'll still be carrying it, Michael said. It will just be in your stomach. But it weighs less than your... I never got a chance to finish my sentence because at that very moment, the most terrifying thing in the history of the world happened. Can you guys take a wild guess at what happened? Okay, let's see if you're right. A horrible creature jumped out from behind a wall and in front of us. It was the Halloween monster. Chapter 7, The Halloween Monster. Until tomorrow. See you then. Hope you liked it.